Hi, in this video, I'm going to go through what it costs to stay in a timeshare full time. I've created a budget. I've been doing this for a little over 6 months, and I just wanted to share that with you. But before I do, let me go through a little intro about my channel. Hi, this is Cliff, and I'm your timeshare traveler. The goal of my YouTube channel is improving your timeshare travels. I'll do this through timeshare video reviews, tips for using timeshares, and much, much more. I can be found on Facebook at Timeshare Trav, Twitter at Timeshare Trav, and on the web at www.timesharetraveler.com. And if you like my videos, don't forget to click subscribe below. First, let me talk about the overall budget. First, you can see I've broken into three categories. I've got basic living expenses, and I'll go into all of these in greater detail. Then I have the timeshare fees, which is basically my maintenance plus some budget I set aside for other forms of staying. And then I have extra things that are pretty much unique to me, but I always feel like you should have special things that you hold considered, unique that you might want to have. So let me break those down. Well, one of the sections I wanted to include here is what you don't need to budget when you're in a timeshare that you normally have to deal with. And that really comes down to utilities and other expenses. So electric, gas bills, and I budgeted roughly $100 that you don't really need to spend, but it's something that sort of when I put together my budget, you need to know that it excludes certain things and garbage water that you typically have when you have a house or renting an apartment, and I put $40 for that. And then the other expenses, almost everybody has internet, and a low price for that is $40 a month. There are some higher, but mostly $40 is what I've seen. And cable, I put at $100. So basically, there's $280 that when you're traveling and staying in timeshares, those are all included in the costs. So when I try to target a budget of $3,900, really it's excludes some budgets you typically have. So I want to make sure I included that so you know you don't have to actually budget for those. Okay, let's look at the basic living expenses. You can see the breakdown now. I have car insurance and a rider policy, which is just a general liability policy, and that's $120 a month. I have my basic health insurance. I have Medicare Plus or supplement, and that's budgeted at $400, which is high, but I like having that set high. I have my mobile cell phone, and that includes two of my adult children. We're on a family plan. I don't have a budget for a gym because it's covered under my supplemental. Auto and gas, and that's including miscellaneous. And basically, the gas covers $300 covers at around $2.50. That covers about 3,000 miles in a month, which is probably high, but I have to say there has been a month when I've traveled across the country and that was roughly 3,000 miles. So it is possible, but again, I prefer to have budget with a little extra. And then I budgeted $600 a month, and that's including eating out, which I don't do that much. And again, that's pretty high, but I'd rather be conservative. So you can see that's the breakdown of my total basic expenses of $1,670. So let me now go through the timeshare fees. Well, now I'm going through the timeshare fees, and as you can see, I have my three timeshares, which is Hilton, Marriott slash Westin, and WorldMark. And I budgeted, you can see the numbers, 166 for Hilton, 250 for Marriott slash Westin, and WorldMark at 436. And then I budgeted RCI slash interval at $600 a month, and that's assuming roughly 2 weeks to stay in the RCI per month in order to be able to stay full time and make my numbers and make my budget. The total for timeshares is $1,452, but that's the detailed breakdown. Well, the other set of expenses that I have are what I call the extra spend. It's a total of $800 a month, and that's really made up of I dance West Coast Swing, and so I plan to go to two events a month, and that's roughly $300. And then I have just a miscellaneous spend to cover, repairs or anything out of the ordinary, or just in case I want to have the extra buffer for special things. And I budgeted $500 for that. So $800 out of my total of $3,922 is really miscellaneous. So most people might not need to include that, but they might have their own. You might have your own miscellaneous expense. So that's what I've budgeted. So there you can see the breakdown, and I'll now summarize that. And now in summary, I have the complete budget listing, laying out the overall operating budget, including all the details in one page. So you can see it overall what I budgeted for. And again, and make sure that you recognize you don't have to include certain other budget items. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed. This is my budget, and I've been doing it for 6 months, and this is roughly correct. Other than the extra spend, I actually have not really spent that much into that. But that's been relatively accurate for the last 6 months, and I expect it to be going forward.